Cameron's next film is going to be like Avatar in the water. You know, it's all going to be 3D. So, and since Avatar, that's started the whole 3D thing. I mean, really, lately.
Well, I wanted to run down a couple of titles. I was going through your filmography, and I just saw a pretty interesting, diverse list of titles, and I thought it'd be fun just to kind of run down one or two and just go some of your memories and see what you had to say. The first one that's jumped out at me was a movie. Not a lot of people have seen it or remember it, but it was a big hit back in the day. It was White Line Fever. He did with Jan Michael Vincent. It's a good little movie.
It is a good little movie.
It is, yeah.
I think it had Kay Lenz, which she was a big star at the time. And it was a great movie. That was, I think, the second or third movie that I actually did all the stunts for Jan Michael Vincent. And we had a lot of fun on it. There was some great truck stuff in it. A lot of chase things. It was good.
Yeah, I remember particularly there was a giant at the end of the movie. The truck makes this giant leap through a big fiberglass structure. And it's
A big sign, yeah, for the bad company sign. Yeah.
Another one was, excuse me. Another one, of course, is To Live and Die in L.A., which is again one of the great chase scenes in the movies.
Yeah, To Live and Die in L.A. Still remains one of my favorite car chase things that I've ever been involved in. It's just when we started the film To Live and Die in L.A., there really wasn't a car chase in it. So Billy Friedkin and I would sit at lunch, and he said, "Hey, Hook," he says, "we got to put a car chase in this, but if it isn't good, we'll never use it." So I said, "Okay, cool, Billy." He goes, "It has to be better than the French Connection," and you know, all this stuff he goes on. I said, "Billy, no problem. Whatever we do will be much better than that." So we sat around at lunchtime and devised this chase. And we would come up with stuff like, I would go, "Okay, Billy, they're on the freeway." He wanted to make the chase go onto the freeway and through the opposing traffic. So, "Oh yeah, cool, Billy, that's no problem." I'm just going, "Whoa, he's never going to do this." So then I go, "Billy, how about maybe we, you know, in the traffic, we jackknife a truck and have it squish some cars and all this kind of stuff." "Oh, fantastic, let's do that." So I walk away and I'm going, okay, he wants to do all this stuff and I don't have a clue of how we're going to do it. None of that stuff had ever been done before. I mean, there was never, now in a lot of films you see, you know, the jackknifing truck and they have all that pneumatically, it's all done with hydraulics and, you know, wheels in the back. Well, never before had it been done, so we had to figure all that out. And so that part of it, a lot of the stuff that we did in To Live and Die in LA, not to be braggadocious or anything, but had never been done before. It's pretty standard stuff now, but it was a really exciting film to do. I had some fantastic drivers, and we took, I think it was 3.5 weeks we took to do the chase sequence. And especially interesting, if you see the film, is to get freeways in California, it's almost impossible. But we got a freeway in Long Beach, and Billy wanted to have the background of the refining plants. So if you notice in the film, the traffic is on the wrong side going this way. Instead of the traffic going that way, it's going this way. And Billy goes, nobody will ever know the difference. So I thought it was pretty cool that, you know, he was that kind of guy and really went big, let us have everything we wanted to do, and it turned out really good. So it was great.
And what about the film that we're screening tonight at 7:30 on glorious 35 millimeter? We are screening The Wraith.
Yes, we're using film.
Film for The Wraith. And that's a free screening tonight. Is Zach here? Where's Zach Carlson? Zach, this print's coming all the way from Austin, and we actually have some trailers before the film from some of your films. Can you talk about The Wraith?
The Wraith was a very interesting film. I forget what year it was done, it was all back there in the past sometime. But it was a film about an extraordinary car, this Wraith that had a life of its own and all that. Charlie Sheen was in it, so we had some great background fun. He was cool, man. We did a lot of great car stuff in it. Again, I was working with a director that said, come up with some ideas. So we had a car carrier that was in the chase. So we started flipping cars off, where I think that was the first time that I'd ever seen that done. It's been done since then, probably better, but at least we did it first. And there's a lot of really cool car stuff in it. It was relatively overlooked film. I think it's got some cult status now, but it's a pretty cool film for you to see if you haven't seen it.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Yes.
I have a kind of a
Stand up here.
I have a multifaceted question. It's
Uh-oh.
what would you say would be your favorite stunt that you've done in your career? What was your least favorite, maybe stunt or experience that you had? And I guess what was the one that took the most time to complete?
Now, you have to remember, I'm a stuntman. That's a very complex question. Actually, I would really have to think about any stunt there was one stunt that was in the trailer, the motorcycle stunt, probably was, I enjoy looking at it now, but doing it was probably one of my least favorite. The circumstances, it was on Airwolf actually, and we were going to do the stunt, and they were supposed to bring out some boxes, cardboard boxes that we were going to bury in the bottom of the sand wash, dig a pit and put them in there so I could land on it. We got there and they didn't have the boxes, and they still wanted me to do it, and I'm going, well, I'm going to hurt myself if I do it. Well, can't you just do it like halfway and not hurt yourself? We really need you to do this. And I'm saying, there is no halfway. It's either go for it. I don't know how you jump a motorcycle halfway. It's I'm either gonna do it the way I want to do it, or I'm not gonna do it. So I'm gonna hurt myself. And they go, well, we want you to do it, but not hurt yourself. So, I got, my ego took over. So I said, okay, go get all the pads out of the honey wagon, these little pads that you sit on. So we went and got these pads, put them out there in the dirt, covered them up with some dirt, and like kind of a young goofball, I went ahead and did it. So it turned out all right. It was, I tore some ribs off my sternum and stuff, but aside from that, it was a...
that is turning out all right?
To me, that was all right. Because I had visions of it being much worse than that. So as far as I was concerned, that was all cool. And but that was one that I'm glad I did it, but one that I really loved. I've done some motorcycle jumps in my life, ramp to ramp in the old day. Not what like they do now, but in the Evel Knievel style, ramp to ramp. I was doing a lot of those. And I had an opportunity to jump over a helicopter while it was landing, cleared the blades by 6 feet or something, 160 foot ramp to ramp. In those days, that was a big deal. Yeah, nowadays that's nothing. These guys are doing rotations. But back then, that was a pretty favorite one. And I liked the high fall in First Blood, doubling Stallone off the cliff through the trees. That was rather innovative at the time, and walked away from that, so that was cool. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else here? You're in the back, yes. Stand up.
What's the worst you've ever been hurt, and what were the circumstances?
Gail. I think probably the worst that I've been hurt was that motorcycle thing, which was, took a little while to get all these things back. I've had like a rotator cuff surgery, but that's just because of, you know, continued abuse over years of shoulder injuries. But I can't remember anything else. What?
I think you're just mostly your heartbreak where you've been there when things have gone really wrong, when people have gotten really hurt, and you've had to be there. I think those are probably more the ones you've spoken about.
That's very good. Everybody hear that? But my biggest probably injury is when I see other people get injured or that I'm around that. Fortunately, knock on wood, on any film that I've coordinated, never had anybody get hurt. That's the way we want to keep it. So, yeah, that's it for the injuries. I broke my finger once, and I've been really, really lucky and fortunate in that area.
What about you, Tommy? What's been the worst?
Well, you know, I think that's a big misconception. People confuse stuntmen with daredevils, and you hear a lot of guys talk about how many bones they broke and brag about it. You know, the really good people don't. You know, if you're a good athlete, you put the prep in, like we've talked about. You know, I mean, I've cracked a couple of ribs. On Days of Thunder, I got pushed into a wall at about 140, and that's it. 34 years.
I
So.
apologize for that question. I guess
Yeah.
that's kind of like
No,
asking,
it's-
like, what's
it's
the
a
worst
great
date
question.
you ever went
But you know,
on?
there's people that brag about how many bones they broke, and that means something went wrong. You know, so I don't think it's anything to brag about myself. You know.
Well, just for, you know, guys like Hal Needham, who directed Hooper, he came from a whole different background like my father and did a lot of Western stuff and all that. So those guys kind of brag about it, and it's okay for them to brag about it because they actually had to do it that way. There were really not a lot of safety innovations back then, so we'll let them brag about it.
Here, in front.
Okay. If you have to fly through a plate glass window for Tom Cruise, or you have to do it for Harrison Ford, do you fly through the window differently?
It's not plate.
Actually, when I'm flying through the plate glass window, if it's for Harrison Ford or Johnny Depp or whoever it is, actually, I'm doing it for me when I'm doing it. It's like I've got the stage. You know, I might be wearing their wardrobe and doing it, but I'm actually doing it for me, pretty much.
But you know what does happen sometimes is you might be doubling an old guy. And you have to emulate the way he walks and moves and all that stuff, opposed to a young guy that would power through it. You know, so you got to mimic your actor as much as possible.
Yes.
I was just gonna ask, is there a stunt that you've never seen performed that you would like to see someone try to do, something innovative you guys have been thinking up over the past couple of years or anything like that?
Myself personally, not really. I haven't really dwelled on it because everybody's usually coming up with a lot of stuff. No, but if you can think of something, let me know. I would like anybody in here, anything new, come and tell us.
We had a gentleman all the way in the back there.
Have you ever had to say no to a director? Something that they dreamed up was simply too dangerous to execute?
Actually, I've never said no to anything. I've always kind of worked it out with them. Like I've said, no, we can't do it the way you want it done, but we can actually achieve what you want to see, but we might have to do it in a different way. Actually, I never have turned down any. Some of them I wish I maybe would have, but no, I really haven't found anything. Like we could jump a car to the moon if they'd give us the proper rockets. I mean, there's really nothing that can't be done if you have the time and the money and whatever resources you need.
Yes, on the side there.
Do you guys have any words of wisdom for independent filmmakers that we don't have much budget and want to accomplish some great things as far as stunts?
The best thing I could say is just keep at it, dudes, because you guys, I think, are doing a great job. I feel that films can be made in an economic manner. I think it doesn't really take billions and millions of dollars to make good films. So I think just be tenacious and hang in there and make your films. You know, and most of the independent filmmakers, it's all from the heart. And you guys have a vision, and I think it's fantastic. It's you'll only be independent for a while, and once you make a good one, then you're going to have to go upstairs. So you know, enjoy it while you can.
And along the same lines, to younger stunt people who are just starting out, what is a typical piece of advice that you guys give them?
Go ahead, Tom.
You know, it's changed a lot. Every day we get people hustling the set, new young stunt people, and typically what they do, they come and they visit the set, the coordinator, they mail us, you know, pictures of themselves and send us reels. And you don't want to discourage anybody, but you just have to keep at it. You know, don't stop if you're a good athlete. It's a real tight-knit business.